Alrighty, in this video, we're going to be going over the mirror economics, why everyone is buying their own reflection, and how to sell it. Okay, there was a shot heard around the world 3 years ago, but it's not actually stabilizing into reality until this exact moment where I share all of the things, the patterns that you've already been seeing in the course guru space, in the algorithm, and in the creators who are succeeding through being mirrors. All right. So as we know, November 2022, ChatGPT came out. Everybody, all of a sudden, and I mean everybody, generated courses in seconds, became a subject matter in seconds, created viral content from prompts that are now all over your feed. And information, while it did become infinite, it also became worthless overnight. The gurus kept selling the same recycled templates. The course sellers kept promising transformation, and I was one as well. The community builders kept charging for Discord access, all selling what AI gives away for free. But at that time, it wasn't good enough. But where are we heading? I'm sure that's the question you guys have all been wanting to answer. When am I going to be replaced by AI? Meanwhile, the successful creators stopped explaining and started reflecting. They discovered what is actually scarce: mirrors. Okay, so we have a few examples right here. We have TJR, trades. I'm sure you're like, bro, what is this dude doing? But he's making millions. I'm sure you've seen rob the bank. You've probably never even seen his real profile, but you've seen engineered language to hit perfectly across all of your FYPs. I'm sure you've seen Jay Guapo, somebody who I've been studying the economics behind what actually happened. He's a genius. Yep, he is. Okay. And nobody knows why. That's why they're asking questions like, why is Jay Guapo famous? Or even Roy Lee, founder of Cluely, tier list, allegations, Cluely, Roy Lee controversy. And even, this was a comment under Rob DeBank's videos, music to my ears with 10,000 likes, a containerized format of language that others saw their reflection in. And if you don't think that it was not engineered that way, then keep scrolling. All right, so here are the economics behind projection. So as humans, we can't stop projecting. It's how our consciousness works. When someone sees your content, as I said in one of my last videos, they do not see you. You don't see me in this video. You see yourself in me, okay? And your reaction to this tells you everything about yourself, nothing about me. I tested this for months. You've probably seen, maybe you just came across my page, but I've posted vulnerable breakdowns at 3 a.m., sharing different difficult journeys that I was going through mentally. I did get millions of views. Comments, though, revealed their own wounds, about their own struggles, and even their own insecurities, not mine. I danced on TikTok daily, even while explaining multi-agent AI frameworks. People didn't see AI, they saw freedom and confidence that they wanted. I shared AI tutorials. People did not see tools, they saw themselves as ahead. Every piece of content was a mirror. Every comment was now a confession. Okay, so here is the mirror business model. Because if you say, oh, wait, all this information, great, but how do you make money? Okay, how do you let money come to you, do nothing, and be a mirror? Okay, so that's what we're doing. So this is the mirror business model. Not for everybody, but it can be. Traditional funnel was always awareness, top of stage funnel. Then it piques your interest, then drives you to make a decision, and then that decision leads to you taking action. Okay, we've all seen this before. We've all been through a funnel. All right, but let's talk about funnel pilled. I'm gonna give you the funnel pill. Okay, mirror funnel. You project, it filters, and it monetizes. Okay, projection, filtration, monetization. Projection, you create services for people to see themselves. Bio, content, language, aesthetic, all mirrors. Filtration, the mirror sorts them. Confused, people bounce. Low IQ, low vibration, people that were never there for you, they're gone, they bounce. Resonant people stay, and obsessed people share. Monetization ends up being the survivors who self-select themselves as buyers. No longer buying information, but buying the mirror. And that shows them who they are, okay? So Sydney Sweeney, we've talked about her before on here. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Sydney Sweeney's accidental genius marketing move, which wasn't even hers, but she was the sim who was, the experiment for this. One interview line about having great genes, one ad about great genes in jeans, right? Cultural phenomenon. Jeans, though, became jeans, which now, as of today, literally as of making this video, became boxing gloves. She's now in a movie, boxing, okay? Sydney Sweeney has literally done quantum stuff now. Look, 25% jump in American Eagle stock one day ago, not weeks ago. We're talking about the after effect long coming between the ups and downs of the trades, 25% up. I even went to American Eagle myself and bought something, all right? Sydney Sweeney, because I saw something in it as a mirror. Sydney Sweeney, now she's going to be in a movie and she's going to be boxing. And what is this? It is literally a mirror, and we are here to project our own meaning onto it. Some will see body positivity, privilege. I, though, saw marketing, and hopefully you do too after this video, because now every post invites projection. Every movie is now a cultural mirror now, okay? So TikTok versus Instagram, I really want to get on this, okay? Because this is where, realities kind of shift, because algorithm does play a role in this, whether you're like someone who already has attention or does not, because this can work for both people. TT versus IG, okay? TikTok rewards authenticity. Even a 25-minute rant that I made called the Quantum Mirror, 25 minutes. I drank water. I didn't edit any of it. It has 1 million views on my page. 25 minutes. Think about that, because it was real. It was raw. It was authentic. It was a mirror, and it was about mirrors. Okay. And even this video is probably going to be a 25-minute rant, and it can go viral if it's actually real. Okay. So the algorithm on TikTok amplifies genuine frequency, while Instagram, though, punishes authenticity. That's why it doesn't feel like a safe space. That's why people are literally mind muscle memory clicking on your stories, not even liking them, because it is a response that they've been conditioned to, okay? Everyone on there performs, everyone on there lies, everyone on there compares themselves. Me, I just went private on Instagram. I made unfollowing me painful. I turned the platform itself into a mirror of regret and scarcity, because TikTok creates culture and Instagram creates projection chambers. Both useful, but different purposes. I just wanted to talk about that because I know a lot of people talk about TikTok versus Instagram, but that's my science behind it, okay? So here, though, is language, because at the core of all of this is language. That is how we express ourselves. Some, though, like Jay Guapo, managed to do this with no language, but with nostalgic audios and frequencies. As I told you, I've been studying this and expressing himself in his most raw and vulnerable state, okay? So When it comes to language, though, as not everyone can survive by just dancing, every individual word that you select is a projection interface. When I say stripe daughters, you either know or you don't. You either get it or you get mad. When I say that we onboarded before we kissed, you project your own meaning onto it. When I say I cried in Dubai, but I bought the URL, you fill in the gap with your own story. These aren't explanations. They're containers for projection. The less that I explain, the more that you project. The more that you project, the more invested you become. Okay? So here is why some might think it's a synchronicity at times. It's an illusion. The mirrors create false synchronicity. Someone sees your content and thinks, I was just thinking about this, or the universe sent this to me. Where was this comment up here from Rob the Banks? Music to my ears, right? Right? Because he's manufactured and engineered a perfect mirror at scale. Okay, so where were we here? Yeah, they didn't find you at the perfect time. You didn't find that video. 10,000 people didn't find that video and it hit perfectly. They projected their current state onto your content, which his content was purely manufactured language to speak to you as a mirror, not to explain, not to sit there and seek external validation, because it's a mechanism and a marketing kernel. Okay, so their brain created this connection, which then felt like magic, and magic sells. Okay, it does. Containerizing your consciousness. All right, because AI doesn't just generate this stuff itself, right? Because people will be like, oh, AI, whatever. Yeah, you sat there for hours, though. You modeled human behavior. You uploaded data sets of reactions of your past pieces of content, right? And you created an artificial society. So containerizing your consciousness is one of the most important things, but we're going to talk about how people fail doing this too, because there's a difference between wearing a mask and being fake and doing this and being real. Okay, so you can't sell your thoughts, but you can containerize them. System prompts, JSON context profiles. We're getting a little, techie here, but maybe that's who you are. Semantic frameworks, tone templates, hierarchy to all of this. We have machine learning models now where you can take an existing state of expression and consciousness and further formulate it into the best possible mode or means of communication that will be seen as a mirror, okay, as we're talking about the economics behind creating mirrors. So each container of expression will then shape projection differently. So if I just raw dogged this video, it would be a lot different of how it was perceived. It would, but it's still authentic because it was real authentic states of expression and thoughts and feedback loops that I've gone through that is formulated now into this video. So each creates a different mirror, and my entire business is literally consciousness containers at this point. I've been documenting my process of building my business over 3 years. Those are consciousness containers, different shapes for different projections, all monetizing reflection. Okay. But as I said, authenticity, like someone like robbed a bank. No, I'm sorry. And if you're watching this, robbed a bank, you manufactured and weaponized language in a way that was insanely smart and distributed at scale via clippers and leveraged certain parts of the algorithms. Props to you, but it's a mask. Okay. So masks come and go, but authenticity and containerizing authentic states of existence and then using machine learning to create these mirrors is the only play, because fake mirrors crack. You've seen it. I see it. A lot of you guys that follow me that post content, you haven't gotten this yet, and I can see it. Others can see it. If you wear a mask, people feel the fracture. If you play a character, it collapses under pressure. If you're authentic, though, it compounds infinitely. All right, because this is not about vulnerability. It's about frequency coherence. Come with me on that one. When your language matches the lived reality of what you're actually doing, the trauma, the excitement, the things that you're excited about, and it all comes together perfectly, that is what the mirror holds. Because manipulation is exhausting doing that at scale. Authenticity, though, scales, right? It requires you to do nothing but be yourself. It might require complete ego death for you to step inside of an authentic persona that is you, that cancels out every other reflection that there is to be once that piece of content exists in multiple states. Okay, so here is the filtration economy. Not everyone is going to survive your mirror. That is the point. Broad appeal creates shallow mirrors. Everyone sees something or information, but no one ever sees themselves in you, okay? Narrow appeal creates deep mirrors. Something like this, narrow appeal, very niche. Few people see anything. Probably when they saw and go through this video, so many different perceptions because it's a mirror, but those who do see everything, okay? Deep mirrors command deep prices when it comes to the economics behind it, and shallow mirrors compete on volume, right? So a shallow mirror would be like robbed a bank. He's competing on volume, but he has a mass distribution system to help and, to do it. But people really don't see, they see themselves in him, but they see themselves through manufactured inauthentic states of him. Whereas deep mirrors then can command premium prices. The more people that you filter out, right, the more valuable you become to those that then remain. All right, so that's why sometimes it will require that ego death and a complete reframe. If you want to watch my video called Mirrors, go do so before this one or after this one. Okay, so practical mirror deployment. How do you deploy the mirror? Okay, so you start with your own unique language, quantum, Disney princess, send a tenny, Stripe girls, Windex, Flex, Zell baby, right? Create projection surfaces. That's what these are. We onboarded before we kissed. Stories, posts, bios that say nothing and everything. You deploy them publicly. You let culture project meaning onto them. You never explain because explanation then kills the projection. So you filter ruthlessly so that not everyone gets it, and that's what makes it perfect. So then you monetize the survivors of it, okay, because they've already sold themselves. AI as a mirror amplifier, right? Because we're getting into tech and, there's never been a machine learning model that can simulate human behavior and craft narratives, as you might have seen in some of my other videos, okay? So language models aren't intelligent. They are projection machines. When people screenshot my content on Instagram, let's say, and ask ChatGPT what it means, then the AI becomes a part of my distribution. It tries to decode me if they can't, and it creates more mystery. And a lot of times it actually understands the metaphors better than them, and it allows them to even further find themselves in my uniqueness. AI can't, though, create these authentic mirrors, as we were saying, because it doesn't have lived experience. But it can amplify human mirrors infinitely when you're in your highest state of frequency and self-expression, like this. It is amplified, a state that I was in, feedback loops I was in, experiences and value I want to provide to you guys in society, okay? And now it has been amplified through the process of using AI, okay? And so the combination of this is lethal. Lethal. Authentic human frequency plus AI amplification equals scalable mirrors. So here's what you're actually selling. And I'm going to drink water because that is my authentic self. You're not selling information. All right. So if you are, realize this now. Everyone has Google. You're not selling transformation. Everyone promises change. You're not selling community. Everyone has a Discord. You're selling the experience of being seen accurately. It doesn't mean shut down your Discord. I have a community. It doesn't mean shut down your community. Get rid of your community. Stop telling people like that they're not going to achieve a transformation. It means that you reframe and you start to understand what you're actually selling, which is the experience of someone else being seen accurately, not you being seen accurately. People pay to understand themselves through your mirror, to validate their experiences through your reflection, to see their potential through your frequency. The invoice is literally just formality. Write me off as a deductible and project into my mirror. They bought the moment that they saw themselves. Okay, so mirror pricing. The reality of it, because mirrors don't sell for $47. When someone sees themselves for the first time, that's worth thousands of dollars. When somebody finally understands their patterns, that is a transformation. When somebody's experience is getting validated, that is identity confirmation. My mirrors start at $5K because identity reconstruction is not cheap. Because authentic reflection is scarce and there's a science behind it. Because the containers that I've built over time took years to build. And this is just another one of those containers. So courses as mirror containers, because we're not selling courses, we're selling mirror containers. A course is not info delivery. It is a structured mirror experience. People don't then come out of it graduating with knowledge. Every course that I bought a $3,000 course. I didn't even watch it, but I came out of it seeing myself more clearly, whether it was because of the investment and me not making the decision to go and consume the mirror containers, whether it was because I found value out of the people inside of it, or whether because it helped me step into a new identity, right? So they emerge having seen themselves clearly, and maybe it just happened to be for the first time. I paid $3K and I actually saw myself clearly for the first time. I paid $15K for a mastermind that I missed my flight the first 2 days of, and I still felt complete because I saw myself for the first time. And I've even talked to people that paid $40K for a mastermind to get one question answered, and they saw themselves for the first time, okay? And that is why course completion rates do not matter. Mirror experiences do not need completion. They need recognition, all right? So here's the math behind mirrors. So traditional conversions on sales and digital products in the metaverse, right, as a SIM, traffic times conversion rate equals sales. But there's another conversion we're not looking at, which is the mirror conversion. And this is the future, all right? T-Swifting, authenticity times projection surface equals filtration, which equals 10Es or 5Es, premium sales, okay? The equation changes because you're not convincing, you're just reflecting. Fewer people, though, they will pass through, but those do convert at 10 times the rate because they're buying themselves, not your product, okay? But don't get me wrong, there is a product, but I'm saying they're buying themselves, and then they're reflecting themselves through the product, and that's the experience and the transformation that they're receiving. Okay, so the physics of projection, because physics plays into everything, okay? We're getting to CERN level particles at this point, and CERN is essentially just models, hot models, okay? Every piece of content is a photon at this point of attention hitting your mirror. Most bounce off, which means low resonance. Some get absorbed, which means engagement. This video itself, right? Photon hitting the attention of my video, which was actually light reflecting through this camera and capturing it. And now most will bounce off, which means low resonance. Some will engage, which means they have absorbed it. A few will then create their own interference patterns, which means there will be some type of viral moments in the comments or reshares, and maybe this goes viral. And so the idea is that successful creators, they're not producing content. They're engineering reflection surfaces that create predictable interference patterns. And then when we're talking about AI, which then can be put back into machine learning models, and you can continue to tap into a model of or the mirror economy and using AI. Okay, so philosophy of selling mirrors, because philosophy plays a role in this as well. Identity forms when we first recognize ourselves in a mirror. When we're kids and we look in the mirror, you've always heard like when was the first time you knew you were white or black or whatever? When you looked in the mirror, it's like your identity finally forms when we first look into a mirror. So every sale now, when you're selling mirrors, is that moment repeated. You're not selling products. Once again, this is identity recognition. People pay for the mirror that finally shows them who they are. This makes mirror commerce the most honest business model, not tricks. It's not tricks. This video is not a trick and is not manipulation. It is just reflection, but only, as I said, if it is captured within the most authentic state and the intention behind it was to do better and serve others through the reflection that they see. Okay, so the inevitable mirror economy of the future. As AI makes information literally worthless, mirrors become everything. Your TJRs, your J Guapos, your Preston Rhodes, these are the people that become everything. Every business becomes a mirror business, whether it's a course on the back end, a service, whatever it is, it becomes whoever can containerize and express formats of themselves in their highest states that others resonate and see themselves through. Okay. And from here, every brand becomes an identity container. So now every brand, and what can identity containers be? They can be compressed into context, which then can be put into artificial societies and AI models. Those who control culture through creating it will then control economics. The age of information, guys, is over. The age of reflection has begun. Welcome to the metaverse. Building your mirror empire. We got to all start somewhere, whether you're at zero or whether you're already printing tennies. All right. So you got to stop explaining everything, start reflecting experience, stop teaching, start containerizing consciousness, stop building audiences, start creating projection surfaces, stop selling products, start selling recognition of oneself. The technical steps are simple, and the identity shift is everything. So why does this matter now? It matters because everyone's exhausted from performing, as you saw from myself, expressed weeks ago, etc., and probably people in the comments too, and even my FYP. But what is my FYP? They're all just mirrors. I built my FYP brick by brick. That means I built the version. When people say that, I built the version of myself that I want to see on my For You page so that it hits the right freaking spot every single time. And a lot of it is engineered. All right. And so people are tired of Instagram lies, AI, LinkedIn posts. Even Sam Altman today said, wow, dead internet theory is real. More than half the Twitter accounts on here are AI garbage. All right. People crave authentic reflection. They need to see themselves accurately. You do. You need to see yourself. And I even need to see myself in others. And that's why I want you guys to do this too, because I need to see myself in you guys, okay? We want validation, or people want validation, including me, that they're not alone. Mirrors provide this at scale for profit, but without manipulation. It's the highest form of calculated self-expression. You become so coherent that your existence alone creates value for others. So there's going to be a monopoly, guys. Whoever builds the best mirror, owns the future. Not because mirrors are products, but because identity is literally the only real currency left in a artificial society with synthetically authored pieces of content that are literally just language that you see yourself in. Okay. When you control how people see themselves, you control everything. But like I said, this isn't manipulation. It's the opposite. You're giving people the gift of clear self perception. They pay for clarity, not confusion, although confusion may be a variable in order for them to help create their own story in the words and the language that you use. Okay, so here is my final transmission for y'all. All right. And thank you to the guy who said, I love all your final transmissions. I love you too, bro. Everyone thinks that they want info. They want recognition. Everyone says they need transformation. They need validation. Everyone claims that they seek a community, but really they seek reflection. Mirrors provide all three without promising any. In a world drowning in synthetic authorship, authentic reflection is the only scarcity. The entrepreneurs who master mirrors outlast everyone in this digital metaverse economy. Okay. And why? Because code gets copied, mirrors cannot. Here's your only choice. Keep selling info that AI gives away for free, or build mirrors. Become the surface where others find themselves. Create containers for consciousness. Monetize recognition. One path races to zero. The other one scales infinitely. This isn't theory. It's tested, proven, and ready. And you can go look at my page. You saw me dancing. You saw me crying. You saw me even hating on other people for LARPing and scamming, right? The real question is, will you become the mirror or will you just keep consuming them? Goodbye, Preston Rhodes.